Hey, what's up guys? Benny here and welcome to ranking the top 10 best guns in Call of Duty Warzone from worst to best. Also, if you agree or disagree with my rankings, please do make sure to go let me know down in the comments below. And if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, as 72% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel and it will make you better at Warzone, I promise. But let's get into the rankings. So in 10th place, we have the M16 Tactical Rifle, which I feel is massively underrated in Warzone. You don't actually see that many people using it, probably because like the DMR and the Type 63 was so dominant when the Black Ops Cold War weapons got added into the game. But right now, the M16 definitely fits into the top 10, and it is really damn good, partially due to the weapon profile, which is going to deal 72 damage for a single shot to the head, and you're firing 3 at a time in a burst. So if you hit someone in that upper chest, you can 1 to 2 burst someone depending on the amount of plates that they've got. And with the right build as well, you can increase that fire rate, which goes from 436 rounds per minute more closer to 500 rounds per minute. So you can dish out some serious damage, and you'll see it in the gameplay as well. Now, one of the big things I would say is that there have been some secret barrel changes. So the titanium barrel, which everyone has been using since the start of the Black Ops Cold War weapons being integrated into Warzone, has no longer increases the bullet velocity in the same level. So I'll show you the class setup in a minute that you're going to want to be using. But with the M16, you definitely want to be in those medium ranges. You can still beam someone at a distance, so it is a little bit more difficult. It's definitely better than the AUG at those long distance fights. But what's I love as well is it holds that damage profile up to 80 meters away. So you're going to do 72 damage for a headshot and then 40 to the chest. So definitely want to make sure you try this out. But let's check out the class setup that you're going to want to use with the M16. But before we take a look at the M16 class setup, I want to give a big shout out to one of my partners on the channel, Command, which is my energy drink of choice. It's packed full of vitamins, it's low calories, no sugar, and is designed to enhance your performance when playing. So if you want to do it as well as you possibly can, get as many kills and wins as possible, you're going to want to make sure to try this out. I use it before tournaments. There is a link down in the description below, and you can use code Benny for 10% off. So let me know what you think. But the M16 class setup that we've got, we have the agency silencer on there before we have the 15.9-inch strike team barrel. Now you're going to want to be using this over the titanium barrel, which recently got a bullet velocity nerf. So the strike team barrel is now the best one. You've then got the field agent foregrip, the 45 round mag, and the vision tech 2 times. And you're going to want to make sure you've got the right reticle for you. I personally use kill shot, and that is my M16 class setup. So in 9th place, we have the Fennec SMG, which is probably a weapon that you didn't expect to see on this list. However, it is statistically one of the best weapons in the entire game, though people don't like using it for a couple of reasons. However, in a 1v1, it is one of the few weapons that can outright beat a MAC-10, which is saying a lot, though I do understand why people don't necessarily like using it, because you'll see it throughout the gameplay. The magazine empties so damn quickly that if you come across an entire squad in trios or quads, the odds are you won't be able to take them out and then be able to get a reload off if they rush you. So it's one of the reasons I think people like using the MAC-10 instead. However, its fire rate of 1,086 rounds per minute and its damage profile of 40 damage for a headshot and 25 to the chest give this thing a ridiculous time to kill. So if you want an SMG that is going to really help you in close quarters, and you know that you're not going to run up against like 3 people, 4 people at a time, the Fennec comes out on top. However, you need to be playing a play style that allows you to disengage, take someone out, and then get a reload off. If you're just running like straight at full squads, this is probably not the weapon for you. But if you're playing in solos or duos, try this out. But let's check out the class setup. This is my Fennec class setup. I've got the ZLR 18-inch deadfall barrel, the Merc foregrip, the 40-round drum mag, the stippled grip tape, and then I've got sleight of hand to try and counter that super slow reload on the Fennec and try and make it so I can take on more than 1 or 2 enemies at a time. But that's the class setup. Then in 8th place, we have the MP5. And no, it is not the Modern Warfare MP5 that sat at the top of the meta for so long within Warzone. It's the Cold War one. And if I'm being completely honest with you, it is a little bit harder to use. However, once you get the hang of it, it is quite possibly one of the best SMGs in the game and has the potential, in my opinion, if the MAC-10 gets nerfed, to be the meta SMG that everyone is going to want to be using. It does have a couple of drawbacks because, as you'll see in the gameplay, I pretty much always aim down sight with this thing, where with the Modern Warfare one, I'd occasionally hip fire quite a lot, to be perfectly honest with you, but it still hits like a truck. You're just going to want to aim down sight in those gunfights. 47 damage for a headshot, 33 to the chest, and a fire rate of 854 rounds per minute. But you're definitely going to want to use the class setup that I'm using, so let's check it out. Now, my Cold War MP5 class setup includes the Agency Suppressor, the Reinforced Heavy Barrel, the Field Agent Grip, the Salvo 50 round fast mag, and then the Raider stock. It's my best class setup. I absolutely love this SMG and think it's going to be at the top very, very soon. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Then in 7th place, we have the Stoner LMG. Now, for the past couple of seasons, LMGs haven't really been meta within Warzone ever since the Bruin got nerfed to Oblivion. Well, not Oblivion, but since it got nerfed and stopped being the weapon that every single person was using, LMGs just haven't been used anywhere near as much. However, the Stoner potentially sees the return of LMGs being viable again in Warzone, especially with this 120 round mag that I'm using in the gameplay that you're watching, because it is ridiculous. First of all, it hits like a truck. It deals 51 damage for a shot to the head and then 37 to the chest, meaning you have a ridiculous time to kill. It just hits. So if you're landing your shots, you're going to take down people very, very quickly, especially when you compare its fire rate to a bunch of the other meta assault rifles in the game, because it fires at 719 rounds per minute, which is fairly similar to like the Kilo and the M4s, but hits harder. But the one area it does suffer is with hip fire. If you're hip firing with this thing, it's not going to go very well. But if you're behind like a truck like I am here and just holding down an area where you have multiple squads running at you, you can pick up so many kills, and there's not really much that anyone can do against you because you're just laying down 120 rounds without needing to reload. But let's check out the class. It's insane. Now, my Stoner LMG class setup has the Agency Suppressor, then you have the 17-point-inch Cavalry Lancer. This gives you the highest bullet velocity increase out of all the barrels. Even though it says it does vehicle damage, it doesn't. It's the best barrel. You've then got the Field Agent Grip, the 120-round mag, and then the Vision Tech 2x scope. And that is my best class setup for the Stoner. Then in 6th place, we have what is probably the most used assault rifle in Warzone, the Kilo. And though it isn't as powerful as it once was or dominant, it is still a very, very good assault rifle. And also, this is probably my favorite kill of all time. Just throw the chopper, flip a truck, take him out with a Kilo. But one of the reasons that I think this weapon is always so highly ranked by everyone in Warzone is it's so easy to use. It doesn't matter how experienced a player you are. If you use this Kilo class setup, you're going to do well in Warzone. It is such a consistent weapon at those medium range distances, and is also has a pretty good time to kill. It does get beaten by a lot of other weapons now, but just from a consistency point of view, this is the assault rifle you want to use. It's got that 5.56 weapon profile where it's 42 damage for a headshot, 28 to the chest, and a pretty solid fire rate of 751 rounds per minute, which is why pretty much every pro player pretty much religiously used the Kilo for so long. It's still one of my favorite guns, and like you can see it in the gameplay, it just doesn't move. It's like a laser beam. It's just at those long distances now that it really struggles. If I'm honest, the class hasn't changed that much, but let's check it out as I just wipe out this squad. Let's check it. Now, this Kilo setup, I'm sure you know by now. It's the Monolithic Suppressor, the Singard Arms 19.8-inch Prowler Barrel, the Commando Foregrip, the 60-round mag, and then the VLK 3x Optic. But for the reticle on the VLK, I go ahead and use the T-Pose. I think it's the best one. Make sure to try it out if you haven't already, but that is the best Kilo setup in the game. It is now time for the top 5 weapons in Warzone, and in 5th place, we have the weapon that pretty much drove the entire community to the point of insanity at the start of the season, the DMR-14. And though it did receive a huge nerf from Raven, it is still one of the best weapons in the game, hands down. Though, right, one of the things to be aware of with this thing is it is a lot harder to use. When you're firing it very quickly, you are getting a lot more kick and recoil, which does make it quite hard to hit consecutive shots, especially at a distance. However, in those medium range gunfights, like a lot of the ones that you're seeing in this gameplay, it dominates. And though I personally am not the biggest fan of it, I prefer using automatic weapons, I cannot argue with how good this thing is. And if you're an accurate player and you like using single shot weapons, or if you're using mouse and keyboard, I think this weapon is potentially still in the top 2 or 3 weapons. However, overall for the majority of players, I think it's in the top 5, so shouldn't be overlooked. It's definitely better than the Type 63, because at one point there was an argument going like, oh, when the DMR gets nerfed, the Type 63 will take its place. But right now, DMR-14, as you can see in this gameplay, still shreds. 112 damage for a headshot, 60 to the body, 55 for the chest. But let's check out the class setup that you want to be using with it after the nerf. Now, this is my DMR-14 class setup. The agency silencer, 16.3-inch titanium barrel, the field agent foregrip, 30-round mag, and then the Vision Tech 2x scope. Remember, once again, to choose your reticle so you don't have the default one if you don't like it. Then in 4th place, we have everyone's favorite aggressive sniper, the Kar 98K. There is just something about this weapon that is so much fun to use. And you can let me know down in the comments if you agree or not, but it is so satisfying because of the fast aim down sight time that you get with this thing, but still having that one-shot headshot kill that just allows you to push enemy squads in ways that you wouldn't be able to with any other weapon in the game. And when you pair it with something like the FFAR or the Groza or a fast-paced SMG like the MAC-10 or the MP5, you have an experience in Warzone that you don't get with any other weapon. If you're using a sniper like the HDR or the LW3 Tundra, it's definitely a lot more passive and slow-paced, but when you have the Kar 98K in your hands, you just want to push, and just engage like fights. Like I find myself just jumping around corners that I wouldn't, because I'm like, I could take this squad, because if I land my shot, like well, just snap it, I can take out an entire team without them being able to do anything. Now, at a distance, it may fall short. It still will keep that one-shot headshot, but it'll deal like 154 damage for a chest shot, and then can reduce that even further when you get over 62 meters. That can make it a 3-shot kill, which can be frustrating at times, but like, honestly, just look at the gameplay with this thing and let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. But it is one of the funnest weapons to use in Warzone right now. And the class setup for it has changed a little bit. Like before, it was a pretty cookie cutter class, but there is a build that I'm about to show you now that makes it so much easier to use. So let's check it out. This is my Kar 98K class setup with a monolithic suppressor, the SingGuard custom 27.6-inch barrel, the tac laser, sniper scope, and then recently I've started using the precision comb stock for that increased aiming stability. Makes it a lot easier to snap onto someone's head. Most people use the sport comb stock for increased aim ADS speed, but you really don't need it, and this is going to help you out a lot more in more situations. So that is the Kar 98 that you want to be using. So it's now time for the top 3 weapons in Warzone right now. And in 3rd place, I have what is probably the best all-round assault rifle in the game right now. It's the weapon that pretty much everyone moved over to from the Kilo after the Kilo long range nerf, the CR56 AMAX. Now, one of the great things with this gun is it hits like an absolute truck. I mean, 56 damage for a headshot, 42 to the chest, then 35 to the limbs, with a fire rate of 630 rounds per minute, gives you a very quick time to kill. But it's not the time to kill that is one of the reasons that everyone loves using the AMAX now. It's the fact that it is so consistent at those medium ranges and a bit further than that, which is where the Kilo used to dominate. But the CR56 is now sort of the king. Now, one of the big things with this is it is, once again, a little bit harder to use. It's a bit like the Cold War MP5 versus the Modern Warfare MP5. Is there's a little bit more recoil with it. So if you're just kind of running around and you've not got the best aim or best recoil management, you may find it a little bit more difficult to use the AMAX. However, you can then throw a Ranger grip on rather than the Commando that I'm using in this gameplay. But when it comes to getting a lot of kills and being able to play at those kind of medium to long ranges with it paired with an SMG, the AMAX can't really be beaten, and it's definitely something that I'd recommend you try out if you haven't already. So let's check out the class you want to be using. This is my CR56 class setup, monolithic suppressor, the Zodiac barrel, Commando foregrip, 45 round mag, and then the VLK 3x optic with that T-pose reticle. If you are struggling to control the recoil, make sure to change the Commando foregrip to the Ranger foregrip, and you'll find it a little bit easier. But this is easily the best assault rifle in the game right now for the majority of situations. Now, in second place, we have what is my favorite weapon in Warzone right now, the FFAR. Now, there's a few reasons that this gun is so good. First of all, it's one of the most versatile weapons in Call of Duty when it comes to your loadout, because it is one of the few assault rifles that can dominate at close to medium range, and then allows you to use something like a Kar 98K as your secondary weapon to then dominate at a distance. So when it comes to your overall loadout, the FFAR gives you the most options out of any weapon in Call of Duty, because normally if you go for an SMG, for example, as your primary weapon, you then need something to dominate at medium range, which normally an assault rifle. It's one of the reasons that most pros in a lot of tournaments always ran the assault rifle SMG combo when going for high kill games. However, the FFAR allows you to dominate at close to medium range, which is possible because it has a rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute and then hits like a truck. 45 damage for a headshot, 33 to the chest, and 30 to the body. And it has one of the fastest times to kill in the game because of that. But because of that, you can then go ahead and use a sniper rifle like the Kar 98K that we just checked and can dominate at all ranges in Warzone, which gives you the ability to win so many scenarios that you otherwise would have to reposition or not engage. And it's one of the reasons that if you want to get high kill games, you want to be using the FFAR, because it can also destroy SMGs up close. But this is the loadout that you want to be using with it, and it is so much fun. Now, this is my FFAR class setup: the agency suppressor, the 21.2-inch Ranger barrel, the bruiser grip is going to give you the most vertical recoil control, the salvo 50 round fast mag, and then the Raider stock. Easily my favorite weapon in Warzone right now. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Then in first place, we have to have the MAC-10 SMG. Like, it's been the standout weapon since the Black Ops Cold War integration. It's got a fire rate of 1,118 rounds per minute and a damage profile of 30 damage for a headshot, 25 to the chest. But even in situations like this, when you're stunned and have someone beating you in the face with Cali sticks, no problem, right? Just take him out with a MAC-10, and it's just, I don't know what it is about it, but the mobility combined with the class setup that I use anyway just allows you to pretty much walk around corners whilst aiming down sight. Personally for me, it's like the new MP5 when you look at the Modern Warfare weapons, and there isn't really much anyone can do to stop it. You will lose 9 times out of 10 up close against the MAC-10 if you're using another SMG. There are some weapons that we've checked out in this list, like the FFAR and the Fennec, that has the potential to win in those situations, but overall, the MAC-10 will just shred. Like, that damage profile, that rate of fire gives you an obscene, and I mean obscene, time to kill when you then combine the mobility of the gun as well. That just allows you to bunny hop across people's faces. And that's one of the biggest tips I can give you when you're using this. Get into the habit of like bunny hopping and challenging fights in different ways. But let's check out the class setup that you want to be using. Now, this is easily the best MAC-10 class setup in the entire game. Agency suppressor, 5.9-inch task force barrel, field agent grip, the 53-round drum mag, and the Raider stock. Incredible, incredible build. But there we have it. I hope you found this ranking my best guns in Call of Duty Warzone from worst to best useful. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new and smash that thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.